there's a place, a school, an institution where a professor resides. Listen to words of Professor Buitron. Come train at the best-kept secret of Laredo, Buitron Academy, 956-401-4868.
Hey, my friends. We're here for another Monday review on street reality. We touched base last week. I did a kind of small little one on what happened in Alabama and those issues that I have with that. Let's just keep on going with those horrific events, because you can look at them and you can learn a lot on the posturing, the attacks, the formations, all that good stuff. Now, we have a couple of videos here that were sent, and I've looked over each one. I had about 15 of them, some that I'll save for next week, but some that I pulled out this week, and I really studied exactly what it was. Remember, this is for educational purposes only. This is for you to study, for you to be able to understand how a person reacts to posturing before an attack, the common attacks that are out there, what occurs, what shouldn't, what you should be careful about, because number one, the streets are cruel. The streets are bad, and unfortunately, everybody has to go through them. You know, I was asked, what's the best technique, Professor? I know that you've been studying Savate for a long time. You've done Kempo for a long time. You've done capoeira. You got involved with eskrima with the folks over in Stockton. You've trained in silat. And let me put it to you this way. Each one of those arts by themselves are great. The only reason I train and others and continue training is what's out there, what's more common. Savate is very rare in the United States. It's rare. So the chances that you're going to meet a saboteur here or in France in the street, in France you probably have maybe a 5% chance or a 3% chance that you might meet a saboteur in the street. You're more likely have a 10 to 20% chance you're going to meet somebody that does taekwondo, about a 30% chance somebody does judo. But Savate is very rare. In the United States, for you to meet somebody that does Savate in the street, it's probably going to be 0.000 whatever. You know, it's not going to be that much. So, but a person that does taekwondo in the street here in the United States, probably got about 20%. Somebody that does boxing, about another 20%. Person that does MMA or judo or whatnot, yeah, you're going to elevate it a little bit more. About 30%, karate, about 30% as well, boxing, you know, so they're up there. You're going to more likely meet somebody that has been training in those arts in the street than you would Savate. So understanding that, and the way I was raised within the arts was always to understand and accept and respect all of them, and always cross-train. My Sifu, Keith C, was very commended that, especially when they were one of the first ones that came out of the Ganja Kempo world with Emparado and stuff from Hawaii and from Chow and also from Parker. So they always knew to study the other arts, get involved in them. Studying that does not mean look at them in a video in a YouTube, go out and work out with them. Actually training them 2-3 years, get some rank in them, maybe get a black in most of these karate systems, and then you can put it into it yourself and build yourself up, because every martial art has its own key elements. Okay, so let's leave that aside. Now, these are just for educational purposes on what happens. The first one that was sent was a video from Australia. A young man that's telling his neighbor, you know, the story. They kind of build a story of what happened. He had lost his family, his father, and he had COVID. There was a flood going on. Well, anyway, the neighbor comes over and he starts harassing him, and he keeps telling him, please get away, please get away, keeps away. And the neighbor very belligerently continues. Then he went after his girlfriend and he said, stay away, get out of here now. Now I want you to leave the house. There was a push and a shove, and all of a sudden the young man goes ahead and knocks him out with a jab crossbone. Person falls down to the ground. Listen, it was a self-defense situation. When you tell somebody to leave your house, not to be in your house, in your property, and you're telling them they're trespassing, and they continue making it, escalating the situation, this is going to happen. So you have to be very careful with what happens. Understand? So I'm not condoning fighting. I'm not telling anybody to go out there and hit somebody first. But when you're defending yourself and you fear for your life, you have to take care of business, and that's just the way it is. The second fight, altercation that I saw was one man against two. You can tell there's liquor involved because you know they're fighting next to a beer logo balloon there of Heineken. It seemed like they were in some type of fair, some type of game, maybe an aftermath game or whatnot, because of the jerseys that they were wearing. It also looked like if they were in either Mexico or Central America or South America because of the soccer shirts that were being worn. It was handling two men. He did great. You know, you can tell that he had some type of boxing skills, hands up in the stance, being in the guard all the time, not crossing his feet over, not tripping over himself. In fact, he picked one guy down. He was doing good. In fact, you know, again, I tell these to the women out there, or if you have a girlfriend, don't get involved. This girl was inside punching away as well, trying to see what she could do. She punched more than the other guys actually, but you can get things into trouble. You can escalate things. You can get hurt. So, like I always tell people, do not be a hero. Do not go in there and be a hero. And I'm going to show you why in the next one. Okay, I'm going to explain to you why in the next altercation. The following altercation seems to be some kind of high school drop-off. You see some older guy singing it to somebody else, cussing him out, but you can't tell because the video doesn't show doesn't demonstrate what was being conveyed. It just shows the pointing and this and that. You can tell the old guy's an old gangbanger. The police grab one of the guys and pulls him back. Grabs him, literally pulls him back. You know, don't fight, don't fight, don't fight. Pulling him back this way. And guess what happens? The old guy is leaving. He sees one of the other little gangbangers run up, and he's pointing out to him. There he is. There he is. A lot of people don't understand what he was doing. He was marking that kid. All of a sudden, they come up and gang him up. Very dangerous. Why? Police, security guards tend to do that. They grab one person, and they'll put that person in danger. Why? Because they're grabbing his arms. That person can't defend themselves, and the other people are going to come hit him. What happened if he had a knife? He would have been shanked. It would have been cut. He would have been killed. Why? Because of the cost of the police officer that was there. This happens all the time. Police officer grabs you. The other people hit you. The other people knife you. The other people will kill you. While the police officer was grabbing that one guy that said no, everybody jumped him. A friend of the guy that being held punched out the other one. The old man comes back inside. See that it becomes a little melee. But what happened to that first one? He was on the ground getting beat up. Why? Because the police officer grabbed him in the name of peace. Don't grab. Okay? Remove them from the situation. But if you grab somebody, they're going to come in and hit them. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as somebody going to the ground. They're going to hit you while you're in the ground. And that video demonstrates that as well. Okay? Unfortunately, that's the way it is. You can't go around that. So you have to be very careful in situations of who's around you, especially here. The lesson that learned is be careful who's around, because you might be talking to one person, that person might be signaling to others to come get you. And you do not know, and that happens all the time. Okay? I grew up in Laredo. I saw that happen a lot. Okay? And we used to have barrios. We did not have gangs. Now we have gangs, and we have barrios. So that's totally two different things. So, little LA, really. Now, the next video, you can tell the guy was training in something. Either he's been watching some videos on some silat work with sarong, or some type of FMA kind of drill. But guess what? He uses he's getting into an altercation, takes off his shirt, uses the shirt, wraps him down, throws him down. When the person on the ground, he kicked him. Remember, you go to the ground, you're going to get kicked. All right? Those are the dangers of you going to the ground, period. You could tell that individual was training someplace. And that's what I'm telling you all. By seeing these videos, you can dissect the attacks, you can dissect and you can learn from them for you to be careful and teach others to be careful. Okay? Street fights is not a person not going to be there holding a knife in front of you like West Side Story. It doesn't happen. They're not going to use a weapon like it's done in theatrics. Okay? Some of these movies that are out there, they're choreographed and they're placed that way for entertainment. Okay? They might have some truth behind it, but they're there for entertainment. And you have to understand that. That's it for right now. You know, those common ones in there. Again, folks, start learning to train. I'm going to repeat it. Start training and start learning to train well. How about that? All right. Put that goal in mind. Things that we got off these videos. One, the trespass, and the person continues going forward and you're telling them to leave your property, is getting in there. There's an altercation that occurred, was proven there. Next, you have this, how can I say, the person in good stance, understanding the stance is the basics, not crossing over. He had some good boxing skills, probably trained before, took care of two people. Again, what does that one teach you? Women don't get involved. The last one with the wrapping of the head, that means that somebody is trained. All in all, this is not to make fun of anybody. This is not to elude that violence is the answer. This is to make sure that you all understand what is going on. And as a teacher of martial arts, I have to give you all a reasoning why it's dangerous to be out in the streets and the dangers of the streets. All right? Much peace. You all stay safe. Until next time.